Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mitch and this is probably the 14th or 15th take that I've done to try and record this video for you guys, mainly because I keep screwing up what I'm trying to say. But enough with that, I'm here to speak to you about my favorite lens ever, and it's this 24 1.4 G Master from Sony. Let me tell you one thing I really love about this lens, and that's how light it is. I don't know the exact weight, but when you're shooting with this lens, you can barely feel it. Like you walk with your camera and pretty much the whole weight is your camera. And I love that, especially compared to a heavier lens that I have that's sitting on my camera right now, which is the 1635 2.8 from Sony. I tend to do mainly interviews and shooting documentary style things. And for B-roll or interviews, this is amazing. I mean, if you have this in your kit, you could easily shoot 80 to 90% of whatever it is you might shoot. One thing I love about this is that even though it goes down to 1.4, I tend to shoot at f2 usually, or f3, or 3.2, or whatever it is. Mainly because at f1.4, if you're shooting, say, this video, and it's at f1.4, only my face would be in focus and only parts of my face will be in focus. And that's not always what I'm going for. So I tend to stop it down to an f2 and f3.2 just because it gets my whole face in focus and tack sharp and then nothing else. Another thing that's beautiful is because of how wide it is, if you crop into like a cinema bar type mode, with the letterbox in the top and the bottom of the frame, one thing I absolutely adore about it is this frames, like if you're central framing with this, it's absolutely gorgeous, especially if you work on anything that has to do with symmetry. It's just so nice. I have a few clips that I'll be rolling and they're probably up on screen right now, but it's just such a beautiful piece to work with. Now, the only thing I don't really like / use is this aperture ring. I don't use it when it's clicked. I don't use it when it's declicked. I pretty much never ever use it, mainly because it gets in the way, in my opinion. I don't like the fact that it can be bumped if it's in your bag and you're not ready to shoot at 1.4, if that's what you're going for, f whatever. I don't like the fact that it can move. I would rather, that's the one feature from this that I would remove entirely and not feel bad about. But that's just it. Again, I don't know what lens you could possibly buy that would give you the performance and quality of this lens and of this focal range. Like a 24mm is always a good option for a wide shot, and it encompasses your whole scene. Like if you want to, say you're shooting a video and you want people to see everything, it will show you everything. If you've got that landscape shot and you just want one perfect car going from the far right of screen all the way to the far left to off screen, it'll do that in just such a crisp way. It almost looks magical, you know? With that being said, I want to compare this to some of the other cheaper options out there that you could possibly buy, or alternatives for yourself that are definitely going to be cheaper in some cases. And that's the obvious comparison, I think, is the Zeiss 25 f2, which I would be honest with you, if let's say I could never use this lens again, but I had to use something that was closer to a 24, 25 focal range, the Zeiss Batis 25mm is a great option. It still works great with autofocus, as does this. It's definitely lighter, and it is definitely cheaper than this lens. And the only reason you would get this lens is if you want it absolutely perfect. You know that you're going to get the sharpest image and cleanest image possible, but also you want to save yourself a bit of money and potentially make money off this lens. If you're a hobbyist and you're not really into photography professionally or videography professionally and don't know that you'll make your money back on the lens, the Zeiss Batis is a brilliant offering. Overall, I would say that I've used this lens in 3 or 4 different countries. So I've used it in Ireland, I've used it in London, and I've also used it pretty much exclusively in Iceland. And it has absolutely destroyed it in all the conditions. It didn't worry about cold or rain or wind. It handled everything like a beast. I loved it. It was super reliable each and every time. I've never lost a frame with autofocus if I'm using it. I've never had an issue with this lens. I absolutely love it. I think it's genuinely probably the best lens I've ever bought in my life. And I work with the Sony a7R III, and it renders skin tones beautifully. It renders any type of contrast beautifully. You have to tweak, obviously, for filming flat or whatever you're doing. But I have to say this, and I can't not say it. It is an absolute joy to work with. I would, if you have the money and you want to spend it on a 24mm and you're on the Sony system, I really don't think you can go wrong with this particular lens. Sony have done such a great job, and it is just a beautiful, beautiful piece of work to work with. Now, if you have any questions, you're free to leave them in the comment section down below. In the description, I will be leaving my email address. I will also be leaving my Instagram account. So if you want to contact me directly, ask me questions about the lens, or see sample photographs, I'll be happy to send you anything or answer your questions likewise. So with that being said, if you really like the video, please thumbs up, subscribe, do all of that stuff, and I will see you next time.